Straight ahead on Law and Crime Daily. A mother accused of murdering her 6-year-old son, then dumping his body in the Ohio River. Her sister now speaking out about possible warning signs.
He would light up a room when he would walk into one. He was very known for giving his big hugs.
Defense attorneys for the former Michigan governor charged in the Flint water crisis want his case dismissed. Why the special prosecutor is saying not so fast.
We seem to be kind of going off the rails here.
And an assault caught on camera. Your sneak peek into the new hit show, I Survived a Crime. Plus, the allegations of sexual harassment that could mean legal trouble for New York's governor, Andrew Cuomo. Law and Crime accused of killing her 6-year-old son and dumping his body in a river. Law and Crime's Angenette Levy is here with the disturbing details of the case.
Yeah, Brian, police in Middletown, Ohio say that Brittany Gosney and her boyfriend initially tried to say that her son, James Hutchinson, was missing, but that story quickly began to unravel, and now both of them are facing charges.
James was a sweet, loving, caring little boy.
Heather Gosney can't help but cry when she thinks about what happened to her 6-year-old nephew, James.
He was very known for giving his big hugs. He loved hugging people, showing everybody love.
Gosney says she last spoke to her sister Brittany on January 26th.
Brittany called me trying to get me to take the kids because her boyfriend was trying to make her get rid of the kids. Brittany did not want to sign custody over to me.
Fast forward to last Friday night. Police say James died when his mother tried to leave him and his siblings at a state park because her boyfriend, James Hamilton, wanted her to get rid of her 4 children. An incident report states that James grabbed onto the door handle of his mom's van when she tried to leave, and then Brittany Gosney slammed on the gas, dragging James and possibly running him over. Police say Gosney and Hamilton dumped James's body into the Ohio River early Sunday morning at the Ohio-Indiana state line and then reported him missing. Law enforcement and volunteers spent the day Sunday searching on the ground and from the air. James's family and classmates are stunned and sad beyond belief. His school brought in therapy dogs to help the young students deal with their loss.
It's heartbreaking and I don't understand it. And like I said, I don't believe Brittany did this. I believe her boyfriend did it.
Now, Heather Gosney says that recently her sister Brittany had blocked all of their family members on Facebook, so they really hadn't had any contact with them in the last month or so. Brittany Gosney is facing charges of murder, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with evidence. Her boyfriend, James Hamilton, faces charges of abuse of a corpse and tampering with evidence as well. He is not charged with murder. Brian, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Angenette. Joining us now is legal analyst Dina Dahl along with Terry Austin. Dina, the charges are based on Gosney's statements so far, but the other children involved, they have yet to be interviewed. Could we see more charges or even different charges against the couple after those interviews?
Yes, very possible that there may be murder charges brought against the boyfriend, or at least a conspiracy to commit murder for both of them. If the boyfriend wasn't actually actively involved in the murder itself, but that maybe there was an agreement between them and he did some action in furtherance of the murder, because it appears that the girlfriend said that she was doing this partly because of him. Right now, like they have that kind of evidence, and that's why they haven't charged them. But we often see charges being brought later as the police continue to investigate a case.
Now, Terry, the more you hear about the story, the more gut-wrenching it gets. Gosney seems to suggest that Hamilton wanted her to do it, but that's not quite coercion. Could there be possibly a defense here, though?
I don't think it's a defense, Brian. Listen, for a case like this, that could be an explanation, but it's not a legitimate defense. Unless she can show that this was some sort of self-defense or it was an accident, or to your point, that she did it under duress and she had no choice, I think a murder charge is definitely going to prevail. And don't forget, this is the state of Ohio, and this individual victim is under the age of 13. So this could be aggravated murder, which means the mother could possibly face the death penalty.
Good point. Angenette, things like this typically don't happen in a vacuum. Had Child Services worked with the family before?
Yeah, Brian, the police chief said during a news conference that Children's Services had contact with Brittany Gosney and her children in the past. The children had moved from hotel to hotel at times during their lives. They had been in and out of the school district, even living, I believe, in another state at one time. So there was some contact. Whether or not Children's Services was currently involved, we don't know that at this point in time. I should mention, though, too, that searchers are still actively looking for little James's body in and around the Ohio River, and they'll continue to do so this weekend if need be.
It's sad that none of those red flags caught this tragedy before it happened, and we're always hopeful that the child's body is found for at least some sense of closure for the family. Thank you all for your input on this story. A new management order is setting the stage for the first former Minneapolis police officer to go to trial in the death of George Floyd. Judge Peter Cahill made the decision with COVID-19 restrictions in mind for Derek Chauvin's trial. Only one member of George Floyd's family and one member of Derek Chauvin's family will be allowed in the courtroom. Both families will have assigned seats, must wear a mask, and must remain 6 feet apart from other people within the courtroom. Jury selection for the trial is slated to start Monday, March 8th. Chauvin is facing a second-degree murder and manslaughter charges. The former officer may also face a third-degree charge of murder pending an appeal. Be sure to tune in to the Law and Crime Network for gavel-to-gavel coverage of Chauvin's trial. Still ahead on Law and Crime Daily, the defense for the former governor of Michigan in the Flint water crisis case argues you can't be the judge or jury in his case. And later on, an update in the saga of Lady Gaga's stolen French bulldogs, her dog walker's message of recovery after being shot. Stay tuned. Welcome back. A pretrial hearing for the former Michigan governor charged in the Flint water crisis got heated during arguments by both sides. Rick Snyder is facing 2 counts of willful neglect of duty. More than 80 people fell sick and 12 died after the city changed its drinking water from a treated source to the Flint River in 2014. Snyder's defense is asking for the charges to be dismissed, saying in court documents that neglecting a city isn't a crime. Prosecutors are upset over a letter the defense filed the night before Snyder's hearing, requesting Flint residents to not be allowed to serve as the judge and jurors in his trial. The defense says Flint residents could benefit from a $600 million settlement.
If, in fact, counsel believes that, now he would like to file this motion to disqualify the court, which he didn't file before, and if he believes that's a decision that needs to be made before further rulings, then there should be a request of the court to, change the order in which the rulings are made. That's fine. But we, on behalf of the people, we really insist on doing this the way court cases are done, according to the rules, with an opportunity to respond in writing and argue matters, not simply grandstand and hurl accusations in emails to the court.
Assistant Attorney General Kettler said today they want this handled like other cases are typically handled. She also said last week that as much as humanly possible, they want this done in the light of day. Well, that's not true. If they were so confident that their venue motion was accurate, that it was venue, then they could dismiss and bring this case in Genesee County, and then the only issue before this court would be improper venue. When they decided not to do that, to use the one judge grand jury, instead of going and filing in a district court like they do thousands of other cases, they want it handled like other cases, that's the way to do it. But by doing that, Your Honor, they not only have refused to identify who the witnesses are, that's not like they typically handle cases. They're usually right on the complaint. They haven't given us any evidence of Governor Snyder's guilt. And then had they done that, then it would be handled like a typical case. So it's absolutely patently and objectively false to say that the people want this done in the daylight and handled like regular motions.
The judge then jumped in as referee and told both sides they'll have the opportunity to argue their motions in a hearing next week.
We definitely want to handle this case as much as possible like every other misdemeanor case. But it's clear from the outset, this case is not like every other misdemeanor case. This whole grand jury process is fascinating to me. It's done largely in secret. Know little about it as a person, a citizen, an attorney, or even as a judge. And I've been getting a good education on this. But as far as I'm concerned, right now there's one motion before the court. We have a scheduled hearing on it, and that's how I would proceed. I understand why there might be other motions that somebody might wish to bring or not bring or whatever, but that's not my job.
Back to discuss the hot water Rick Snyder has found himself in is legal analyst Dina Dahl and co-host Terry Austin. Terry, no judge or jury from Flint because they are alleged victims. I mean, on its face, it kind of makes sense. Do you think this case could be moved to a neighboring county then?
I do, Brian, and I think that the governor, while I want him to be held accountable for his actions, he has a very good point. Under the Sixth Amendment, as we all know, you are entitled to an impartial jury. And so theoretically, if the case is tried with Flint residents, then theoretically they could be jurors who were actually harmed by these actions. So I think it should either be moved to another county, or I do think that maybe they should remove Flint residents from the jury or grand jury. So if I were prosecuting the case, frankly, I would actually agree to move it so you don't have any issues as far as an appeal might be concerned.
Yeah, you want that conviction if you're looking for it to be final. Dina, dismissal because neglecting a city isn't a crime? That's a creative argument, but how do you think it's going to be panning out for the defense?
I don't think they're going to win that motion here because it is under the penal code. Willful neglect of duty is a misdemeanor, which he was charged in. So it's clear that it is a crime. I think, though, that argument might do better if he's convicted on appeal, because this is a first impression case. You've never had a governor be charged with this misdemeanor crime, and there could be an argument that this wasn't the intent of the statute, this statute wasn't applied correctly to him. That's more of an appellate argument, and if he's convicted, we will definitely see that be brought up again. But as for today, in this trial, this will not work as a dismissal argument for him.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. I hope that we would never have to think about a law where we'd be punishing a governor or a mayor for poisoning their residents and their citizens, but here we are in 2021, one being tried for that very fact. Thank you both. Coming up on Law and Crime Daily, what's next in a deadly road rage incident investigators are saying was racially motivated? Plus, a peek into the shocking assault of a driver and the video that captured it all on the A&E Network's newest hit series. You don't want to miss this. And we're back. Video from inside a Lyft ride captured a passenger attacking the driver. Host of the new A&E series, Gio Benitez, is here to explain who was telling the truth and who was lying.
Palm Coast, Florida. This driver is on a seemingly normal ride. In the back seat are 3 passengers, 2 men, one of whom has a 7-year-old son with them. They are not all visible.
You installed it yourself? Yeah. Really? Yeah, man.
The driver has placed a plastic partition to protect everyone from the COVID-19 virus, but his passenger refuses to believe the driver put up the barrier himself.
I think you're a liar. How'd you get this? I paid $25. Yeah, now you put a light on. Now you put a light on. What light on? What the f is that?
The back door is open and beeping.
You opened the door, man? Me? Nope. Nobody's open the door.
The 2 men in the back scheme something.
Yeah? Ready? What are you doing, man? Yeah? Ready? Yep.
Then they pounce.
Almost lost for words. Gio, all right, so There was a lie and a truth. Can you kind of tell us a little background about that? Who's lying? What was the lie? What's going on here?
Yeah, so these guys get into this car and automatically you know that this driver, he knows something's wrong because they keep asking about this plastic partition. And by the way, you see how recent this is because this is now, COVID-19, right? And that's why that partition was there. And so this driver realizes something's going on. And so he decides to turn on that light. Why? He knows that dash cam is recording and he wants to make sure that you could actually see their faces there in that video. And so he doesn't say why he's turning on that light, but we all kind of know what's going on there. And then they start tearing that down and attacking him. And that's just like shocking because the whole point of the partition is to protect himself against COVID-19. If someone is back there and they might have the virus and he doesn't want to get it, that's why that's there. Now they're taking it down and now they're grabbing him.
And of course, I'm assuming the police get involved, the reports are made, one person's telling one story, another person's telling another story. And this video, I guess it's a Lyft driver, so they have their video. This is telling the truth. And you're showing us this video as well as reports from the driver, right? We're going to hear from the driver.
Oh, you're going to hear everything from the driver. I mean, this particular case, and by the way, it's not the only ride-share crime that we are capturing on this show. What some of these drivers go through, it's pretty unreal.
Make sure to check out I Survived a Crime, airs Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on the A&E networks. When we come back, our legal take on sexual harassment claims against New York's governor. Could there be civil or criminal charges coming? Exclusive analysis after the break. Welcome back. Lady Gaga's dog walker is expected to recover after being shot by two men who stole two of the pop singer's pooches. Ryan Fisher posted on Instagram for the first time since the shooting, saying, "The love that I feel from around this planet is immense and intense." He later added that he is grateful that Koji and Gustav were returned. According to the LAPD, the French bulldogs were found by a Good Samaritan who was believed to be uninvolved in the dog napping. Officials are still searching for the two suspects. They are believed to be between 20 and 25 years old. Anyone with information as to their whereabouts are encouraged to call the police. The case of a Massachusetts man accused of murder following a deadly road rage incident is heading to a grand jury. Dean Capsalis is being held without bail after Belmont police say he yelled racial slurs and hit a man with his truck. Henry Tapia died from his injuries not long after the incident. Witnesses say the two men were seen pulling over to the side of the road and getting into an angry dispute. Capsalis is due back in court on March 31st. 3 women have come forward with accusations of sexual harassment against New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo. Terry Austin explains what possible civil litigation he could be facing.
Brian, New York's Attorney General's office is launching an independent investigation into the claims. Those findings are expected to be made public. The women say the governor made unwanted sexual advances. One aide who worked for Cuomo is claiming Cuomo forcibly kissed her without consent. Another woman who worked for Cuomo claims that Cuomo asked her about having sex with older men. A third woman claims that Cuomo touched her back at a wedding and asked if he could kiss her. If the woman who formerly worked for Cuomo decided to file a claim, they would begin the process by filing a claim with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The EEOC would then conduct an investigation and issue a right to sue letter if warranted. According to the EEOC, harassment can include unwelcome sexual advances and other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature. Attorney Deborah Katz is representing accuser Charlotte Bennett. Katz also represented Christine Blasey Ford during Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court confirmation hearings.
Thanks, Terry. Back with us one last time is Dina Dahl. Dina, the investigation will be made public. Is that rare? And what do you expect we'll find in that report based on what you've heard so far?
There's actually a statutory investigative tool that they are filing this investigation over. So no, it is not rare in this instance. There will be a public report after a very thorough investigation in which we will see most likely Cuomo himself be deposed. And it's a little bit unclear as of today what we're going to see. I think it depends if other women come forward, because as you know here, this attorney who's representing the victim kind of welcomed any other victims to come forward. Is this just the beginning? Is this the end? That I think will depend a lot on what is uncovered here by the Attorney General.
Yeah, of course, we've seen these types of cases where one or two women make allegations, and that gives power or strength to others to come forward. So got to keep an eye on that. Terry, if this investigation comes back that nothing happened, we'd expect business as usual, I'd guess. But what if the claims come back substantiated? What then?
You know, if the claims are substantiated, I think you're going to see ramifications in criminal court and civil court. And actually, I think you're going to see ramifications in the court of public opinion. If you are in criminal court, you know, he could face possible sexual assault claims. Obviously, if he's in criminal court, or rather, if he's in civil court, he could face sexual harassment claims, as I explained earlier. And as far as public opinion is concerned, he might actually be asked to step down. We've already seen the fact that some Democrats are asking him to consider it right now. So if any of these claims are substantiated, he might have to step down.
I mean, could this also, Terry, not be a reason for him getting impeached if these claims are substantiated, yet alone he's found guilty, right?
That's right. He could go through an impeachment process, and then we'll see a trial for the impeachment. So he's really facing claims every which way.
All right, Dina, Terry, thank you very much. And thank you for joining us here on Law and Crime Daily. We'll see you next time as we discuss justice in America.